Hey, 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 this is Chris Lowery, your independent candidate for Jefferson County Sheriff 2026. Coming to you live on our weekly Facebook Live series. Get this phone turned off. All right, welcome to the live. As we do every week, we come live at 6:30 and stay on here until we get done answering questions and hearing from our voters, constituents, and what have you, issues, concerns that you have in Jefferson County, in particular with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. An opportunity for you to learn more about me, about what my platform is, and what I will be doing for you as your next sheriff of Jefferson County. So we got about 13 people on there. Tried something a little different tonight, starting off a little bit about 5 minutes early with a little countdown to try to get some people in there. Boy, if you're in Jefferson County, I hope you're staying warm. We have been hit with some very cold weather that has got us iced in. So I had to work through most of that. I believe started Friday night, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, what have you, and very significant for here. Fortunately, I'm not hearing of too many power outages that have occurred within Jefferson County, so that's a blessing within itself. Hopefully people are able to stay warm. I know the warming center in Pine Bluff is open, and I believe there have been some other opportunities for people to seek refuge if need be. If you're having issues with that, feel free to let me know. I can point you in the right direction. I think today I was seeing 18 to 25 degrees. It was sunny, so we were able to get some melting effect happen on some of the roadways. We were able to get out and have our business open today. Didn't have a lot of business. Diamond State Canine was open. We were able to groom a few dogs, but most importantly, we were able to get all dogs taken care of, get them aired out, and get a little break outside, and just keep on doing business. So hopefully it'll be better tomorrow and so forth and so on. I see a lot of the schools are already closed for tomorrow. Probably a lot of the local governments are as well, but your independent candidate will always be available for you. You can reach me at 870-556-0330. Message me on Facebook, Instagram, what have you. And again, they're on my cell phone. Call me or text me, and I'll be glad to help you out however I possibly can or point you in the right direction. So it's been an interesting week since last week. A lot of stuff going on around the community. Was able to attend annual Alliance dinner out at the Pine Bluff Country Club. It was well attended on, I believe that was Thursday night. Was busy working Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday with the department that I'm employed with, and provide some safety and law enforcement measures to citizens within Jefferson County. So that was great. Fortunately, it wasn't too terribly busy. Pushed a lot of cars out. People were trying to get around and travel. It wasn't necessarily, I would say, the road conditions themselves, although they were pretty bad. They didn't really give me any issues as I was driving around on patrol. Biggest issue I was seeing was where the roads had been plowed, blocking in entrances to businesses, what have you, that folks were trying to get to. So these two-wheel drive cars, these low-riding cars are getting stuck going in or out of those particular parking lots. So fortunately, I did not personally witness any wrecks or what have you. So I didn't see any injuries, which is great. Most people stayed at home. Hopefully they were able to get what they need, batten down the hatches, as they say, before the storm really came in. So anyway, again, attended the Pine Bluff Chamber Alliance dinner. Phenomenal opportunity. I got to meet some new people. I met with some existing folks that I've already had conversations with. But what I tell you, I took away from that, and I don't want to say something that's not the actual deal. So I would encourage you to go check it out yourself. But Bill Jones was the guest speaker there. Most people know him from Sissy's Log Cabin, but he is on the commission for the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. And he spoke about Bayou Bartholomew and what the work they're putting in there, collaborative with the Game and Fish Commission, Jefferson County, the city of Pine Bluff, about how they're dredging parts of that bayou out, and give a little history on it, how they're dredging part of it out. They're building decks or uh, building platforms for you to use, as they talk about it being the state's only or first handicap accessible kayak ramp, kayak loading point that's going to be coming in, developing some parking lots, some roads, and a bike trail that's going along that. He talked about it going from Old Warren Road out to near the casino, which I thought, man, that's an amazing thing to have right here in Pine Bluff, Jefferson County. It made me excited. It was like, wow, that's an outdoor activity coming to a town, a county that typically has not been very well known for a lot of outdoor activities or what have you. So I think that goes right in line with one of my top tier messages as your next sheriff of Jefferson County, which is being tough on crime and holding people accountable. So we have to reduce that crime rate so that people will want to come to this community, want to utilize those types of great resources and great sites that we're going to have here within Jefferson County. So there's a lot of people that already come here for the casino, and they're going to be driving right past 5:30 and seeing the signs for the Bayou Bartholomew. And as this develops, and I believe it's happening this year. I could be wrong. I would encourage you to go out. They did a write-up on it on, I think, Deltaplex and on the Arkansas Democrat Gazette Pine Bluff Commercial. Read on that for yourself. I'm sure you can get some information on the Game and Fish website. Check that out. But anyway, I just thought it was awesome that they're bringing in something that historically I haven't seen here, right? So if you know me, it's been a while, but I used to ride bikes fairly regular. I have a very nice bicycle. I'd love to be able to get back into riding that. And I used to go to Little Rock to ride the river trail up there. Me and some buddies would go up there at least weekly and ride that thing a couple of times. It was 19 miles round trip is what I would typically put on the bicycle. And it was just a great time to spend with some friends, great opportunity to witness some things that were outdoor scenery, some Mother Nature events, just a place to, have a peace of mind and kind of clear my head. And that was awesome for me. And then to hear that we're getting something like that, he referred to it. Actually, a lot of you probably have heard of the Buffalo River, and he said we're going to be the Buffalo River of the Delta. So I got excited about that. Many people I was in the room with, they did too as well. They saw opportunities there to help bring in some folks here in Jefferson County. So that was something great I got to hear about this last week. Plus, I met with many different voters and speaking with different people. Had some great telephone conversations that I was put in contact with. People wanting to speak with me. And that brings up a point that you see my phone number in the comments, 870-556-0330. What I'd like to tell you is that I am completely approachable. I am open to having all conversations again with anybody. I don't believe there's no question too tough to answer, and that all questions deserve an answer, right? So if I don't have it, if you ask it on here, if it's not where I can answer it right then for whatever reason, I will definitely make note of it and get you an answer on that. But what was I encouraged about by talking about me having my telephone number out there is I was in contact with a voter within Jefferson County recently, and we had a great conversation. Had to cut it a little short. I think we were on there about 20 minutes. I was going to visit my father, who's in rehabilitation therapy. You might have heard me speak about that as well. But anyway, she said straight up that she was just wanting to get to know me. She had people wanting to get to know me, and that they had concerns. After our conversation, I believe a lot of those current concerns were squashed, answered, and that we're looking forward to meeting up in the future as well. So I welcome all of those opportunities. It does not matter to me what organization you're with. You are man, woman, black, white. It does not matter. I want to meet with you, hear your concerns that you've had within Jefferson County, particularly with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, maybe as far as what you're talking about political, because as obviously you can see, if you follow on Facebook, social media, there's been a lot of he said, she said, naysayers, whatever, about the political races within Jefferson County. And I'm not weighing in on any of those posts. It's just there are people paying attention. There are some people that are saying just what they're saying, and there's people that are putting facts behind that. So I encourage you, and if you go back and look at the history of my lives, or when I speak to you in person, what I've talked about is vote for people. Does not matter who that is, as long as you have done your due diligence and research as an opportunity to learn more about your candidate that has the best idea aligning with what you believe is right and needed within Jefferson County. That's very important that you stick with the candidate based off of that specific deal with what you believe is right, what is needed, whose ideals align with yours the best, so that those candidates can represent you. It does not matter if it's the sheriff's race, the county judge's race, JP, city council, mayor, president of the United States, U.S. representative, state representative, what have you. That's just the best way, from my perspective, that you should be looking at your candidate that you're wanting to put in. And so, as me as running for sheriff of Jefferson County, I'm opening myself up to having those conversations with you, getting to know you and your concerns, and allowing you to get to know me and ask me all of those questions that you would like to do. So, let's see. Hey, Doug, welcome. Says, whatever happened to the driver that ran your dad off the road? Did they ever find him in the semi truck? So, yeah, Doug, I will answer that for you. Again, I believe in being 100% transparent, but there's things I can say and can't say based off of totality of the circumstances. But what I will answer, let me give a little bit of backstory. So, December the 30th, 2025, my father was involved in a hit and run accident out on 530 here in Jefferson County. He suffered some severe injuries from that, and we were able to get him medical attention, medical care. He is rehabbing currently. Thank God for that. I tell everybody, at least we're not burying him, right? So he is recovering. It will be a long process. Okay. So, the driver was identified, Doug. The company was identified, and the Arkansas State Police has done a phenomenal job investigating that and forwarded up. It's called a file review. In case if somebody's not familiar with that, they've sent that up to Kyle Hunter, the current elected prosecutor's office, to see what charges should be filed, if any. I believe, as you read the Arkansas Rules of Criminal Procedure, that the elements of the offense of a hit and run accident injury do apply. That's a Class B felony. So we will see what happens there. That's one of the issues. I mean, I don't mind speaking about that, but I will say that one of the issues, because I've had a lot of experience working in different counties and different municipalities and what have you. Hey, Kim. Hey, Nanette. Thank you for the prayers, Nanette. Appreciate it so much. What I will say is that for whatever reason, in Jefferson County, it seems like the wheels of justice turn really slowly. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not an attorney. But based on my experience that in other counties, such as Pulaski County, it seemed that the wheels of justice turned quite a bit faster. So we'll see how that goes. I won't be bugging them. I'll allow the process to go through and do what it does, and see what the results are on it, and then challenge anything that I need to challenge as they make their decisions. That's not to say that they do a bad job over there. That's not what I'm implying at all. I just feel like, based off of my experiences of working in Pulaski County as a law enforcement professional, that the wheels of justice up there seem to move more fluid, faster with communication. That's one of the issues I've noticed down here between law enforcement and the prosecutor's office. Seems to be not as well oiled of a machine as what I experienced in Pulaski County. But yes, so thank you for asking, Doug, about him for sure. That answers your question. Colonel Hager with Arkansas State Police and all his investigators did a phenomenal job communicating with me and getting this case solved, right? So that was awesome. But as we go forward in the next months, We've got a lot of rehab that we're dealing with and different issues. So thank you so much. So anyway, again, last week, Chamber Alliance dinner, met with a lot of folks, dealt with the weather, pushed a lot of cars out while I was out patrolling the streets, people getting in and out of parking lots, what have you. Fortunately, most people stayed at home. So, it's been a great week. As I was talking about voting for people that your ideals align with theirs the most, right? So there's many different candidates. There's a primary coming up March 3rd. I want to make sure and be clear on that. I can't say it enough that because I'm running as an independent candidate, I will not be on the primary. So my name will not be on the ballot, but you should still go vote, right? You should still go vote. And in that primary is the prosecutor's race, the county judge's primary, prosecutors and judges, that will be their general election, basically, because they're nonpartisan. Then the people like your county judges, there's 5 of them vying for the Democrat nomination to go against the 1 Republican nomination. I encourage you to get out and go vote for that, right? So the county judge is a very, for lack of a better term, I'm going to say a heated race right now. There have been people around this county that really have taken some involvement in that, and we all are aware of issues that has happened between the forum court and with the county judge. And then there's also many AP races that are up in the primary as well that will be essentially their general election, because I'm not noticing any Republican candidates vying for those specific spots. I could be wrong on that. I encourage you to go to the Secretary of State the website to check out all those candidates to get a list of who's running for what position and what those dates are. Again, March 3rd is the primary, but I want to be clear that I will not be on the ballot just because I'm an independent candidate. So our next big obstacle or big accomplishment as an independent candidate, I will start collecting signatures. I believe that starts February 6th. And we will get those signatures turned in to the county clerk's office to be able to for sure be on the ballot in the general election. So no worries. I know you guys are all going to come through and get us some signatures on that. It's not an issue at all. I don't believe anybody's not wanting me on the ballot, so I don't see that being a particular issue at all. But what I wanted to get to is, so I'm telling you, find the candidates that aligns with you the most. So we've had one forum that I'm aware of that I participated in. It was really well. It went really well, I thought. A lot of great questions. The format was pretty good. It was attended very well. I believe this, let me look at my calendar here. I don't want to misguide you. So it looks like I thought the 29th. Hang on a second. I think the 29th is of January. Let me double check that real quick. There is a forum for the county judges race. County judges only. No other candidates are involved in that. Let me see if I can't find that real quick. Anyway, once I find that, Kate, if you're on here, can you look that up for me? I thought I had it on the calendars, but I'm not seeing that. Kate, if you can check that out for me and double check that. But I believe that's the 29th. Kate will confirm that for me here in just a minute. But I encourage you to go out to that forum, listen to them, ask questions, get involved with that race as well, so you can cast your vote for the person that you feel is worthy of carrying out your ideals and needs within Jefferson County from the county judge's perspective. So, hey, Kim, great question. How many signatures do I need? I believe the proper terminology is 10% of the last vote count in the last presidential election. It's going to be around 2,000 signatures, right? Is in that neighborhood. That's what we're shooting for. I think it's really like 600, but I'm planning on doubling, tripling, quadrupling that. So can't have enough signatures. I'll take them all, right? So here's the deal, just so y'all be aware of that. You must be a registered voter to sign the petition. You have to be a registered voter. So I need you to do that. If you've not done that, I need you to go out and do that. Go to the county clerk's office, get registered. I know last week I mentioned that, and somebody was able to get their stuff changed to get their proper name in there. So yes. So become a registered voter. So We're going to be looking at around 2,000 signatures, Kim. So, Kathy, will there be another forum for the candidates? Yes, there is. I will address that. The next one that I'm aware of is February 12th. That's taking place at the Pine Bluff Convention Center. That is put on by the Divine Nine. Um, when I first heard about it, I sent word to those people about I have not been invited to that. Did not know if I was overlooked or if there was reason for that. And I will say that they graciously reached out to me and explained to me why there had not been an invitation sent. Is that is specifically a pre-primary debate format, so that people that are in the primary can get their message out, and the constituents and voters can hear from them specifically and be educated on the primary candidates that are coming up for March 3rd. So I agree with that. We'll be in attendance to that one. I will hopefully be sitting in front row because I would like to hear what they all have to say, as well as I'm telling you that you need to be informed about the decisions and the people that you're voting for office. Not only am I running for office, but I have a vote to cast too, right? So I'm very, very interested in all of the races, and I want to hear what each of them have to say. So that would be very important to me, and I believe that one is February the 12th. Uh, let's see what we got there. So let's highlight this. Let me put the banner up here. There we go. I forgot to put the banner up, so we'll go up there and highlight the comment there. Let's see. It says 2026 voters for Jefferson County Judge Candidate Forum will be January 29th, 2026 from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the UAPB Incubator, 615 South Main Street. And that is for county judge candidates only. That's the one I was just talking about. So I encourage you to come out to that. I will be at that one. I'm pretty sure. I believe I asked off for that day. I'll have to double check that. That is normal a work day for me, but I believe I took it off so that I could attend that. Hopefully, you guys come out and check that out as well and see your county judge candidates. Ask some great questions, get more informed about who you would like to see in that office. That is a very important race. So, Whitney, what can you do if you're unable to vote due to vacation? So, hey, Whitney, that's a great question. There is absentee ballots. You can talk to the county clerk's office about that. I believe that's how my son is going to have to vote due to him being in the military, unable to be here. There is an absentee ballot process. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. Let's see. I want to try to speak. So, according to the Arkansas Secretary of State, in order to get an absentee ballot, you need to request one. You need to have a request to have an absentee ballot application sent to you by contacting your county clerk in the county where you're registered to vote. So you would need to contact the Jefferson County Clerk's office for that. You can option two, you can go right on the Secretary of State Cole Jester's website, and you can click there to download, complete an absentee ballot application, then return the application to the county clerk where you're registered to vote. So you can have them, or you can download one as well. To be qualified to vote as on an absentee ballot, you must meet one of the following criteria. You will be unavoidably absent from your polling site on election day, or you will be unable to attend your polling site on election day due to illness or physical disability. You are a member of the Uniformed Services, Merchant Marine, or spouse of a dependent family member and are away from your polling location due to the member's active duty status, or a U.S. citizen whose residence is in Arkansas but is temporarily living outside the territorial limits of the United States. So I'll share that with you here in just a second so everybody can see that I read that to you exactly how it says. Let's see. Share screen. There we go. There's the Secretary of State's website. Let's see. I think I shared the wrong one. I did. Stand by. Stand by. We will. There you go. So if you look at that, it talks about it right there, the qualifications for an absentee ballot. The kicker to that there, I guess, Whitney, to answer your question, is it says that you're unavoidably absent from your polling or election day. So if you're on vacation, I'm not sure how that applies. I guess you could go one way or the other on that if you were unavoidably absent. But what I would encourage there is there's early voting, right? So there's early voting that will be happening in the primary as well as the general election. So I always think it's better to go down and vote so you know it went the way you wanted it to go. That's just my personal opinion on that. I think that would be probably the best scenario, in my opinion, is that you can use the absentee ballot if it's a must, but preferably do early voting, where you actually go to your polling site and cast that vote in person, and you know that everything worked the way that you want it to work. So let's see. Oh, you're welcome, Whitney. And anyway, so as we move forward in this race, ladies and gentlemen, the thing that I need you to do is continue to spread that word, like and tag a friend in our Facebook Lives and our comments in our Facebook. We're just definitely spreading the message about what Chris Sauer will do as your independent candidate for Jefferson County Sheriff, which is being tough on crime, having a safe, efficient jail operation. I went back and looked at some research that I've been doing recently, and ladies and gentlemen, that jail is in horrendous shape, and we have got to get it fixed. If you paid attention to the debate forum that I was involved in, uh, if I understood what the current sheriff was saying correctly, is when it was asked about bed count, he talked about that he only had so many cells or so many beds or so many pods that he could use, that some of them was a security risk, right? And so what I took from that, being a prior corrections and current law enforcement official, professional, I took that to mean that there was opportunities for unsafe to keep somebody in, whether it's escape risk or whatever. And that's a problem. If that's a 318 bed facility or 314 bed facility, 300 plus bed facility, and we're only able to keep 240, 250, we need to get that fixed, right? And I believe there's monies available to get that fixed. If there's not, we need to work to get that fixed. That facility was built approximately 20 years ago. And if we have a problem where people can't be safely housed in there, where the community know that there is as escape proof as possible, that your loved one and family member is well fed and taken care of and safe while they're in there, that's a problem, and we got to get that fixed. And I'm telling you, I've made it clear from day one I'm going over there. Matter of fact, in March, I'll be taking a tour of that facility as part of a leadership Pine Bluff course that I joined. And I want to just kind of see, because I've only ever been beyond the booking point one time, and it was not on a tour at all. So, it was concerning to me that we have a certain number of bed space, but we can't use that because there's security issues or safety issues or whatever that is. Whatever he tried to speak about, it wasn't abundantly clear. There wasn't no clarifying questions about that. But that's definitely a concern of mine, because if you're being tough on crime, that means that there are going to be people going to jail. Because let me give you all an example. So I can speak firsthand about this. I've talked about the jail being closed, right? So again, I want to be clear. I don't say that everybody needs to go to jail. What I say is everybody needs to be held accountable for violating societal laws, right? If there are laws on the books that our state has passed that are constitutional, they need to be uh, held accountable, right? So that's what that talks about. And the example that I like to give is, because I think most of us can relate to this, because surely you have been stopped by the police at some point and you did not receive a ticket. So if you run a stop sign, the law enforcement professional stops you, talks to you, asks questions, gives you a warning, maybe not issues you a ticket. Could be a verbal warning, a written warning, whatever, but hopefully you didn't get a ticket every time you've had interactions with law enforcement. So that's what accountability looks like. Now, if you violate laws, if you violate criminal laws, that begins to look a little different. It does mean you have to go to a correctional facility, you have to go to jail, and what have you. But what I want to tell you is about problems that exist within Jefferson County due to our correction facility, our Dub Brownsville Detention Center, not accepting inmates and being closed. You know, I'm telling you first in knowledge. Let's see, let me back up some dates. I want to be correct in telling you this. Thursday evening, a police department, let me put it that way, a police department had to deal with somebody who was stealing property, was committing theft of property from a local business. They arrested her, took her to jail. They refused to take her. They said that they did not have room, or they just weren't accepting. I was not there, but I know the arresting officer who took them there, and they stated that they were not able to successfully get this individual booked into the Dub Brownsville Detention Center. So, anyway, the very next night, so Friday night, I'm back at work because I'd taken Thursday night off to go to the annual Chamber Alliance dinner. The very next night, me and that same officer had to deal with this individual again in the middle of the street, pulling down her pants, showing her rear, waving a hammer around, being a threat to society and a nuisance to society, minimally was disorderly. She was spitting on police officers. She was being resistive. She was being everything but a good Samaritan, right? So knowing that the jail would not take her, I preemptively said, hey, what are we going to do that the jail won't take her? And so I was referred to an outside agency, another county, to house them. And that other county graciously accepted this individual. So we were able to get them off the streets. But my point of saying that is there's a cost to that, right? It costs more gas to drive them over there. I'm sure there's a fee. I think when I worked at the Whitehall Police Department, I was told that they charge $40 a day to keep inmates over there. I don't pay the bill, so I'm not sure like that is. But we're already paying a certain fee to use a detention facility. Now we're having to pay in addition to that fee, plus gas, plus man hour, drive somebody over there. Now they got to go get her and bring her back when it's her court appearance. It's just time consuming money spent that doesn't need to be spent because we're not running a jail at the way it needs to be ran. And I don't care who says what. I'm not saying everybody needs to go to jail, but I am saying when you got an individual that is constantly being disruptive and causing other law-abiding citizens problems within the county of Jefferson, they need to be held accountable for that. And if that means you got to go to jail because you're being disorderly, because you're being drunk, because you're stealing, because you're being threatening, because you're committing assault, those are all things that she committed: spitting on people, waving a hammer around, trying to get into people's cars, being disorderly by loud and cussing and causing a scene, and then having indecent exposure by pulling her clothes off with school buses around for sure. Those are all things that factually happened that our jail was not holding her for or wouldn't take her for. And I got a problem with that. So how can we hold them accountable, right? And so what I have said from the get-go is that as your next sheriff of Jefferson County, we will gladly have the jail open for processing. And what that looks like is pictures, fingerprints entered into the AFIS system, a secure seat on the bench. If you've ever been in the Dub Brownsville Detention Center, you'll know what I'm talking about when I mention the bench. There's a place to secure you there. We will make this happen one way or the other. And I've seen little naysayer comments here and there and say, Lowery says this and Lowery says that. Where's he going to get the money for it? So what you've always heard me say is I don't take a no, I get to a yes. And if it's a money issue, then there's ways around that. We can stagnate shifts. We can make people move from one office to working in the jail to whatever that looks like to make it safe, able to house people so our law-abiding citizens can have a peaceful life. So instead of naysaying, just understand there's a way to make it happen. I'm telling you, I will and am going to make that happen. So let me go to some questions here. Let's see. So Kim, you've been in there and it ain't pretty. I bet, not that a jail's not supposed to be pretty. I like to use the terminology, it ain't Disneyland, but it does need to be clean, it needs to be safe, it needs to be humane. And everything that I hear from anybody who's been past the booking point would say that it is everything but. And I don't know why, but I know how to fix it. I know how to get the staff to fix it. I know how to get the right people in the right jobs, right? So that's what we're going to be working on. So, Kathy, I truly believe community involvement is a must. How will you help the community get involved in helping to bring trust and stop the crime? So, great question, Kathy. I've talked about that a few times. I'll reiterate it again for those who may not have heard it. But so, one, I'm going to, in the first 30, 60 days, I will be personally interviewing all of our command staff and supervisor levels within the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. And I will be talking with all the employees, civilian and deputized as well. So one of the things I will be trying to acquire from that is not just about them and about what their goals and aspirations are and what assets they bring to the sheriff's office, but also what do they like to do? What are they good at? And I'm going to align a way for all employees to be mandatedly involved within the community. An example I give, if you're good at playing basketball and you like to coach or be involved with Boys and Girls Clubs activity or youth sports activities, then I would be able to provide you with some time during the week, an on-duty time, to be able to go do that, right? And hopefully that transitions to where you want to give some of your off time as well. But if not, that's mandating us in the community and building that trust. So that also I have several boards that I'm creating, community action committees, jail committees, sheriff's advisory boards, and I will be getting those, the community members involved with that, where their voice will matter. Well, they'll have a direct line of communication with the command staff and the sheriff himself, which is hopefully me in 2027. And the other thing I'll do is I'm going to be stealing. I'm going to be, because I like it, Sheriff Eric Higgins out of Pulaski County Sheriff's Office. He did something, I believe he's still doing that. I haven't worked there in some time, but he used to do what was called Supper with the Sheriff, which was a monthly or quarterly event. And he coordinated that with a lot of the local churches. So, why reinvent the wheel? I'd like to have that type of activity as well. Hopefully I could reach out. We got an abundance of churches. Hopefully I could reach out and have those possibly sponsor some of that and have monthly or quarterly suppers with the sheriffs, so the community come out and have another open, break bread, direct line of communication with me and build that trust within the sheriff's office. Because we are here, law enforcement professionals, first responders are here to help society out, right? We want to build that bridge, build that relationship, and I believe those are ways to do that. So let's see. You worked in, let's see. Okay, Kim, that's crazy. They should be put in the jail here if they need to be in jail. I agree. So, Kim, one of the things about that is I know that there's a mental health crisis within Jefferson County. There's limited resources, and but unfortunately, if you commit a law violation, and we're not judges. If you commit a law violation, the only recourse that we really have is to take you to the detention facility. And if you are being a nuisance to society and violating the law, it should be more than a ticket. It should be able to hold you in there, because judges have way more power. They can mandate some mental health evaluations. They got resources that we don't have access to. I've seen them apply that for sure. And I agree. So anyway, let's see. You've worked in different areas of law enforcement. What specific experience best prepares you to run the entire sheriff's office, not just patrol it? So that's a great question, Mark. I appreciate it so much. Let me highlight that. So let me tell you a little bit about my history. So I have worked in different areas of law enforcement. I've worked for Little Rock Police Department. I've worked for Pulaski County Sheriff's Office. I've probably held most any title there is within law enforcement, from instructor, field training officer, honor guard, water patrol, persons crime detective, where I worked homicides, rapes, and batteries, property crimes. I have been a canine handler. I've worked drug interdiction. I have worked patrol duties, and I have supervised. I have been in a leadership role, a supervisor role within the United States military since 1997. And most currently, about 3.5 years ago, I became what's called a first sergeant within the United States Air Force Air National Guard component, where I am the leader of the triad, part of the triad, where we have the commander, the chief, and the sergeant. It's what we call a triad. And I am directly responsible for the health, morale, welfare, and discipline of the organization. And that means getting to know my people, understanding the morale issues that they have, the health, welfare, and as well as advising counsel on discipline as needed for people that might need disciplinary action. So I'm a people person. I enjoy helping folks out. And then, that's 189 people that I lead and supervise in that capacity. And so that allows me to do that, as well as I currently hold a senior certificate within the CLES certification, who holds our certification within law enforcement in the state of Arkansas. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and my experience in corrections as well, leading and running a correctional institute that qualifies me and helps me understand the jail side of it, the enforcement side of it, as far as patrol duties, as you say, the enforcement side of it, and then the leadership role and experience that I have is what qualifies me as the best well-rounded candidate to bring the change to you here in Jefferson County that is desperately needed in the sheriff's office. So hopefully that answered your question, Mark. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Let's see. Kim says, smelled terrible and smelled like there was smoking K2. In fact, that is why I was there. So K2 is a horrible, horrible, horrible drug, right? So it can kill people instantaneously. It's amazing, making them lose their mind, go, for lack of a better term, go crazy, delusional, and what have you. So, so with that being said, what I believe has to happen. So I talk about being tough on crime, and then I mean that as accountability, right? But that also applies in the daggum jail, right? So if deputies are bringing in stuff, if civilians are bringing in stuff, let's face it, if people are behind the wall, if people are incarcerated, and there's only one or two ways in, and there are controlled accesses, the only way they're getting stuff in is by one of two ways: somebody bringing it in, or a drop from a drone or something like that. Right? So they're not able to get out and go to the store and make contact with their people and what have you. So anyway, so when I talk about safe, efficient jail operation, I'm talking about day one institute policies where you're not getting in there without being searched, right? That doesn't mean you're being body cavity searched. That does not mean that you're being strip searched, but that means that we will adapt policies and procedures to enter into the Doug Brazel Detention Center, very similar to what goes on at the Arkansas Department of Corrections. Those are metal detectors, hand-on-back searches, cell phone searches, and clear bag policies, and limited tools, limited items, personal items that can be brought in. A great example I'll give you for that, and those of you who worked at the Arkansas Department of Corrections can probably co-sign this with me, but I would tell you that different facilities kind of had different rules, right? I went from one when I worked there. I went from one at the diagnostic unit that was in Pine Bluff, and then promoted and moved to the Varner unit. Drastic different unit policies about what you could bring in. At the diagnostic unit, you could bring in as much food as you wanted. At the Varner unit, you basically were allowed to bring in 2 sandwiches and some chips. Basically, what they were getting to is you could bring in what they felt was reasonable for this amount of food you would need for the 12-hour shift that you work. So I see instituting things like that to cut down on the opportunity and possibility of bringing in contraband, because cell phones, drugs, weapons, those lead to death and destruction within a jail. So I'm not saying people are bringing in weapons, but I do know that they're bringing in drugs and cell phones. You've all seen it. If you take if you just scroll on Facebook, social media, where a lot of people seem to get their information from, if you look on social media, there's videos out there that are obviously taken from cell phones from the inmate view. If an inmate, I was just told, I think it was last week, somebody was getting a text message from an inmate that was incarcerated at the Doug Brazel Detention Center. That's a security violation. That's a security risk. We have got to annihilate that problem, right? So we have to have the jail set up to be safe, humane, and take care of folks, right? So that's how we do that. I just got on that kick because Kim talked about K2, uh, cell phones, drugs that got to be eradicated out of the Dub Brazel Detention Center. They just have to be. That is a problem that leads to bigger problems, that leads to death, destruction, injuries, what have you. So I have another goal to have medical staff there 24/7. I am planning on figuring out how to make that happen. It makes no sense to me that there is medical staff not there on a 24/7. You have 240, 250 inmates. That's the last count that I believe I heard Sheriff Woods speak about at the forum. So you got between 250 and 300 people there, and no medical staff. That's an issue. I've seen videos of people being attacked in there, and due to inexperience, lack of training, lack of know-how, lack of desire, whatever that looks like, they're not being the true first responders of protecting inmates, providing life-saving measures. So we will review all their training files and get them spun up on what CPR looks like. I have some PPC instructors to be able to come in and get these detention staff trained in pressure point control tactics and less lethal uses of force to ensure that when a situation happens, we are equipped to deal with it. So that's what that looks like in the jail. So it's all about shakedown, clear contraband, safely housing them, getting the housing and classification worked out properly, and then having the staff trained. It all kind of happens simultaneously, right? So, but we have to get on top of the contraband in the jail for sure, and control access points to limit what can come in and out of the jail. So, what's amazing to me is I was just told. So I attended last Monday, a week ago. I attended the Martin Luther King Day parade, and I was told by an individual that he has requested to go see one of his parishioners' grandsons in the jail and been denied visitation because they didn't have the staffing to allow for that, and was told that someone would be in contact. And at that point, it had been several weeks, and he still had not gotten contacted. So I have a running notepad, running notes on my phone, as you see right here, of different things that we need to address. And it's all part of the puzzle to come together to fix what is wrong with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, there's a lot wrong there, right? And it starts with leadership. If you have a leader that's allowing things to go on, being uncontested, then it continues to get worse. You have to set the example. You've got to set the pace. You've got to set the tone. You have got to lead from the front, be the tip of the spear, and let these folks know what the expectation is and how we make that happen. So once we do the tough on crime, safe, efficient jail operations, then that partners with other agencies. We are right here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where the Department of Corrections is headquartered at, and many units right here local, partnering with them on the jail side of things, partnering with Arkansas State Police, the Pine Bluff Police Department, the Whitehall Police Department, Redfield Police Department, which are the other municipalities that are currently working in Jefferson County, provide them guidance and assistance and being an assisting agency, as well as utilize them to help us as long as we work out mutual aid agreements, which I believe would not be a problem whatsoever. So, yep. So there we go. Our hoodies. That's what I'm wearing today. I'm sorry I'm not dressed as professional as I normally am, but it's cold outside. We've got ice and snow. We were at Diamond State Canine working today. Yes, you can come on by 6523 Dalloway Road. We have some coffee cups and tumblers and hoodies and t-shirts help you support your candidate for Jefferson County Sheriff, as well as just proudly wear some of our apparel and let people know who you are and who you're voting for, as well as this will financially help support our campaign. Thank you so much. So leadership can build the blueprint, and when the example is set, others will follow. But the action and steps mean the most. Thanks for your response. These conversations are enlightening as always. I have always said that leaders lead, followers follow. And if you're in a leadership position, you're a follower, then it's like the blind leading the blind. You have to set the tone. You have to set the example. And I believe that, right? I learned that at an early age, that if you can set yourself apart as an informal leader, and then you become a formal leader recognized through training, education, and experience. And now I am both of those, right? So even though at my current civilian job, I do not hold a leadership role, I would consider myself an informal leader. I try to be an advisor to people, rights and wrongs, set the example of the do's and don'ts, and I just think people recognize that because people like leadership, right? So we all are human. We all make mistakes, and I believe that by having leadership can help cut down on that because people at work, for the most part, from my perspective, do not have necessarily an allegiance to the work environment. Meaning they may not have it to their department, their employer, the name that's on the W-2, the name that's on the paycheck, the from part of the paycheck, right? But what they do have is an allegiance to leadership. They have allegiance to who they work for, and they don't want to disappoint their leader. When you have a leader that's out working hard and doing the right things, you know, people tend to gravitate towards that and make themselves more accountable because the boss is doing it, the leader's doing it, and I just think that's the best way to be. So, I try to do that day in and day out. Don't ask people who work for me, to do a task that I wouldn't do myself, and then provide my guidance and leadership and experience when it comes to questions being asked or if I can point people in the right direction. So, great question, Kim. So, it would be interesting to know if you need a nurse or if a paramedic can work the jail. Lots of medics like part-time jobs. So, I'm going to be diving into that through CLES standards and the jail standards. But from my perspective, now, I mean, sometimes I say things that people are like, that don't make no sense. But let's see. I have nobody that has medical qualifications of any kind other than possibly CPR, and no one's there. Or I can acquire an EMT, a paramedic, an LPN, an RN, whatever, right? And I know each one of those levels escalates what they're allowed to do. But something's better than nothing. So I'm going to be looking at all aspects of that to provide some sort of care. I know I've had a conversation with a well-known individual that is involved with medical care within the corrections environment, and it talks about this is things beyond my knowledge level at this point. But I believe you have to be a registered nurse to handle medicine. But I think there's ways you can negotiate that out and stagger schedules or whatever. But I'm talking about someone there that can provide life-saving skills beyond CPR, provide immediate medical assistance until ambulance folks can arrive is better than nothing. So that's what I'll be looking at how we can do that as well. Plus, as you say, lots of medics looking for part-time jobs. So I believe, you're exactly right. It's a win-win, right? So I think we should be able to get people out there and provide them an opportunity to serve as well. Not only is it a part-time job, but I could see them seeing it as their greater good. Not all of us in first response positions will do things for the money for sure. Let's see. Let me check questions here, make sure I have not missed anybody's questions. Yeah, so Kathy, I see your question there. I guess I did skip over that, but yeah, Kim is right. So, is there an emergency after hours? Who's there? Is there no medical professional on staff? You didn't know that. So that is my understanding. Yes, is that if they have a medical emergency that takes place within the Doug Brazel Detention Center after hours, they're calling an ambulance. So it's tying up a resource, coming to the jail when we could already have that staff there, right? And if it's a financial thing, I'll be working with the justices of the peace, budgetary, the county judge to get those positions filled. We have got to have that. These people need medical attention, right? From mental health, physical health, injuries, life-saving measures need to be able to take place. So yeah, that is the current setup, Kathy, as I understand it, that they are definitely just relying on ambulance services for that, which again means that I don't know what easy is work schedule is like, but I know they don't have an abundance of extra ambulances out on the street. So if one's tied up at the jail, I would say that should slow or has the potential to slow up a response time to another real world emergency happening out on the streets, right? So I think it's a double benefit there. So anyway, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for coming on there. Do you have any questions for me before I get off? As always, I want to remind you to go to Lowery4sheriff.com. It's a place where you can donate financially. This is I don't want to sound like somebody who's begging for money, but this is a place that you can take credit card payments and contribute to our campaign, because this is financially obligation that we're taking on here, and every dollar counts and helps and is appreciated so much. So if you have any extra that you would like to donate, whether you buy a t-shirt, a hat, a coffee cup, a tumbler, or a hoodie, or just donate, that would be great. So that would be great. And then you can also do the commit to vote as well there. And I'm going to be having the volunteers as well, opportunity to volunteer. So I do want to clarify before I get off here real quick. Again, not on the March primary. I'm on the general election. That's why you're not seeing a lot of signs out. I've not turned away anybody who's asked for a sign. If you want to put a sign out, by all means, I'll appreciate it so much and give you a sign to have you put that out in your yard or your place of business and support me in my candidacy. But the big thing after the primary, we were hoping to get some word tomorrow, but it looks like the courts are going to be closed. And let's see, looks like we got a couple questions that came in. So Doug says, so who's passing out the nighttime meds to the inmate at night? I'm assuming you mean the guards. So, that I don't know. I'm just told there is no medical staff on hand. So I'm just using reasonable deduction. I'm not saying this is what's going on, because again, I don't work there. That would be a great question for the sheriff himself or the chief of the jail. But let's look at it like this. If it's true that it requires a nurse to hand out medications, if it's true that there is no nurse there 24/7, then I would think that it would be okay to make the assumption that meds are not being handed out at night. I don't know. I've never seen a medical person there in the times that I have attempted to book somebody into the Dub Braswell Detention Center. So as far as under my administration, if there was a need, we would definitely get that filled. If it required a nurse to hand out meds, do what we got to do to offset, make it happen. We would not make it where someone was without medication for sure. So they might be doing some sort of 12-hour deal, 5A to 5P. I'm not sure. Great question. Great question that I'll try to get an answer for you on that, Doug. But I'd encourage you to call your current elected official as well and see what they say about it. Sometimes when I try to get information from over there, it's almost like I get a stall tactic. So, but I'll see what I can find out on that and get you an answer. Let's see. Kim says, another thing I see is when they call an ambulance, no one rides with the inmate and the EMS crew. Someone might follow us if we're lucky, but we generally have to wait on someone to get there. Are you serious? Wow. Holy crap. Kim, are you telling me that you have responded to the Dub Braswell Detention Center, the jail for Jefferson County, ran by Sheriff Lafayette Woods, that is in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, off of 3rd Street, to get an inmate that requires medical attention, that these people have been locked up on a bond or incarcerated for whatever reason, and they, by judicial system, by the judge's order, they're to be locked up behind bars, incarcerated, either pre-trial or post-trial. They're having a medical emergency. Easy as having to transport these individuals to a medical facility, sometimes with no police escort. If that's the case, unfreaking acceptable. That's a security risk and a half. That's a to you guys, to the community. That's unfair. That's not. No, absolutely not. I don't care. He can't justify that. That cannot be justified. Period. Because I know I've never been called and said, "Hey, can you escort this ambulance over there until we can get a deputy on scene?" How hard is that to see if you can't collaborate with another agency? If I'm working with another agency, why would I not ask, is that possible, until we can get somebody there because we're having to call somebody in or whatever that looks like. But if that's happening, Kim, oh my God, that I'm not going to get too much on that, but that's not right, Kim. Period. So anyway, yeah, some great questions. Kim, I'd be interested. Okay, let's see. Kim, I'm telling you that I personally rode in the back with an inmate and no guard. Wow. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to highlight that. That's insane. So this is a person who works on the ambulance service who is saying that she has rode. She's telling us that she has personally rode in the back with an inmate and no guard. Wow. That is disheartening, scary, not safe, all the things that violates protocol, that violates man. Yeah, Cade, you just said that's how medics end up on the side of the interstate. Unfortunately, if you saw the news, that just happened the other day. Now, that wasn't, I don't believe that was an inmate. I believe that was a person suffering from mental health. But yes, so my understanding was the medic drivers, paramedics, EMTs, ambulance drivers were put in a bad situation, not given a lot or all of the information. But yes, that is not fair at all. Wow, that just blew me away, Kim, to know that. So let's see. Either we have to wait for someone to get there or just go with no escort. So unacceptable. I would hope that Easy could work that out with them and essentially for safety precautions, refuse service. Man, I want the man or woman that's incarcerated to get the medical attention, but I also know that could be a ploy for the true criminal, the true psychopath, the true schizophrenic to possibly use that as a means or an opportunity to harm somebody if they're seeing things. Because I'm telling you, I've worked in corrections before, and people that are locked up are pretty smart. They're very observant. They pay attention. If they notice that ambulances are coming and leaving, because I've seen windows, right? There's windows in the cells that face Sallyport, and they're seeing, hey, so and so just left, and they didn't have no escort. Word travels, and that's a way for some of these people to get out. I don't know what their protocol is on that. That never would have crossed my mind that was even possible. So, yeah, state prisons make someone ride, usually two people in a chase van. Yeah, so when I worked at the prisons, absolutely. That's how we did it. Somebody got in an ambulance with them, and then at least one other one in the van as a chase van, and then held security the entire time they were at the hospital facility, so the person could get their treatment and then get back to their incarceration spot. So, man, that has really got me blown away. I'm making a note of that. That's a day one fix right there, Kim. That is a day one fix. If Sheriff Lowery has to come out and ride in the back of that ambulance, by God, he'll do it. I am not putting y'all in that situation or accepting that responsibility or liability of what's going on. No. And if that pisses some people off that I'm saying that, so be it. So freaking be it. I want y'all to like and share and tag everybody in this that currently there's a setup where the possibility exists that our ambulance drivers, our first responders on ambulances are allowed or required to go to the detention center, provide medical treatment, and transport people to the local facilities, local hospitals outside there with little to no security. And that has happened firsthand. Broke here. That demand different. I can't believe that's happening. That really bothers me. So thank you for sharing that with me. It's going in my notes. of things that have to be fixed day one, right? So as you've heard me talk over the past few months, that's one of the things I say is the first 5 minutes of taking office, I'm headed to the jail, and we're going to get some things fixed. Well, I'm already working on reviewing their policies. I did get that. We're working on making some changes that are adaptive to what we feel is most important for accountability and transparency purposes. Safety is my number one concern, and that is a huge safety concern that you just brought up there, Kim. I thank you so much for sharing that. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it has been my pleasure to be on here with you for the last hour and 10 minutes as we do our weekly lives, as we go forward. Stay safe. These roads are still slick. As I drove home today, still a lot of ice covered on there. It's probably refreezing up tonight. The sun did do us some good. So if you have to get out, few spots are open. Shout out to Little Caesar's Pizza on Dalloway. They fed us at Diamond State Canine today. They were open for business, so I appreciate them so much for that. Stay safe, stay warm. Remember to reach out to me at 870-556-0330. Go to Lowery4sheriff.com. Register. Make sure you're a registered voter. You can go on Voter View for Arkansas. Check that out as well. And stand by for those signatures coming real soon. And we will be your candidate for sheriff, and then hopefully we'll be your next sheriff. As long as we can get each one of you to bring along 2 friends, and each one of those 2 bring 2 more. We will annihilate this thing, be the next sheriff, bringing the change that's needed for Jefferson County, bringing in the tough on crime, efficient jail operations, cooperation with local, state, and federal agencies heavily involved in the community, and then utilizing my leadership and experience to make this a destination county instead of county that people are leaving from at the numbers of 1,500 a year. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember, as Kathy just says, vote, 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 vote. I need you to be registered and vote for Chris Lowery for Jefferson County Sheriff 2026. Thank you so much. And as always, remember, God bless Jefferson County.